Look, these are all going to be pretty stupid and you can poke a lot of holes through them, but they're still pretty fun to talk about, so we're bringing up 10 Grand Theft Auto fan theories that could possibly change everything. Starting off at number 10, we have the concept that all of Rockstar Games' other titles exist in Grand Theft Auto's universe as different types of media. There's not really a lot of weight or thought to this idea, it's more of just a fun what-if scenario. Think of it this way. Red Dead Redemption is a book, Max Payne is a movie, LA Noire is a TV show, and Rockstar Table Tennis is a live sports broadcast. This is all just really based off of a Red Dead book that appears in one of the Grand Theft Auto games, we'll talk about that more later, but I think this is one of the better ways to connect the Rockstar Games quote-unquote universe by making it not all actually connected, but still managing to exist within one another, you know? Well, does that make sense? None of it really does, but let's talk about number 9. Here's a theory that I think is definitely kind of reaching, but it's the concept that the main characters of Grand Theft Auto 5 are all descendants of John Marston. Quite a few people have brought this up, all basing it around the theory of John Marston's special ability called Deadeye that allows him to slow down time, go into bullet time mode, and shoot up bad guys. If you think about it, all the main characters in Grand Theft Auto 5 all have their own special ability that's basically a variation on Deadeye. Franklin can go into slow motion while driving, Michael can slow down time while shooting, and then Trevor goes into that superpower mode where he can take less damage and give out more. That one doesn't really fit that much, but whatever, we're trying. To go even deeper, Reddit user Irish America theorized that in Red Dead Redemption, John Marston has 3 different and conflicting personality types. Number 1, he's a family man, which is very much like Michael in Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 2, he wants a better life and he'll do what it takes to do that, similar to Franklin. And then of course, he's just a badass criminal cowboy, and that's more like Trevor. So yeah, of course, this is definitely a reaching theory, and there's really no connection of a bloodline of any sort. If anything, I'd really think Max Payne would be related to John Marston, because he has the straight up normal Deadeye ability, but Max Payne had it first. I don't know, nothing really matters and nothing really makes sense, but it's fun to theorize. And at number 8, we have the idea that your Grand Theft Auto Online character actually dies before the main game. He's basically like a prequel character. People have tried to come up with explanations on why your Grand Theft Auto Online character gets involved with main characters Lamar, Lester, and even Trevor, but then never actually get explained at all in the main story. Any interactions or cutscenes in the main game with those characters, when they're ever in a situation where they could recommend somebody, they say they don't know anyone. Lester says he doesn't have any contacts, although he knew the Grand Theft Auto Online protagonist. Trevor said that only him and Ron worked for his enterprise, and he never mentions the online protagonist. And neither does Lamar. He says his only friends are Franklin and Stretch. So why would they not bring up the online protagonist if they directly dealt with him multiple times? The only thing that really explains it, other than the fact that just it doesn't matter and it's not canon, is the idea that the Grand Theft Auto Online protagonist somehow bites the bullet. If he's dead, it makes sense that none of the main characters would bring him up in the main story. And at number 7, let's talk about probably the coolest Easter egg that's also led to a lot of speculation. In Grand Theft Auto 5, you know the big fancy house in Vinewood Hills that Franklin gets? Well, if you go into the living room, there's a shelf with a bunch of books, and there's a blue book that says Red Dead by J. Marston. Skip ahead a little bit if you want to avoid spoilers for Red Dead Redemption, but at the end of Red Dead Redemption, John Marston is gunned down and his son Jack Marston grows up to avenge his death. The thing that people have been theorizing here is that John did find himself some redemption because he was able to get out of that hard-living Western life. People believe that after he kills Ross, he goes off, leaves the West, and becomes a writer. This is essentially his version of redemption, escaping that rough life, and basically chronicling the journey of his dad in a book called Red Dead, which now exists on Franklin's bookshelf. I don't know, I like this one because it's a fun theory of a character getting resolution that definitely deserved it. And at number 6, if you thought some of the theories on this video were reaching and really out there and crazy, you haven't heard this one yet. There is an idea that Grand Theft Auto is set in a dystopia where the 1933 business plot succeeded. The business plot, for those of you that don't know, was a political conspiracy in 1933 where a bunch of bankers and a fascist veterans organization teamed up and planned to overthrow the president Franklin D. Roosevelt. This was kind of just a conspiracy and a big hoax at the time, and it was never really proven to actually be a thing. The idea of this connecting to Grand Theft Auto is basically that if the business plot succeeded, a dictator came into power and a massive distribution of wealth was completely changed on its head. And basically that leads to the alternate reality Grand Theft Auto world where consumerism is pushed even hard, people will do whatever it takes to get ahead and resort to crime even more often than not, and corporations were completely ununionized and deregulated, and there's massive monopolies and corporations and crime and products that kill their customers and stuff like that. And honestly, if you're smart enough to know what the 1933 business plot is, because I didn't before making this video, I feel like you might be smart enough to also have better things to do than just post weird Grand Theft Auto theories on Reddit. But hey, that's just me. And at number 5, we have this pretty solid and widely accepted theory. For those of you that don't know, all Grand Theft Auto cities are surrounded by water. They're all almost like their own little microcosm, self-existing islands. Now, while I myself and many other people will just say, oh, that's game design. They didn't want to put up invisible walls, so they built the entire game environment to exist on its own island. That way, there's never any breakdown of immersion with an invisible wall popping up or you seeing an area that you can't go to. That makes sense, right? Yeah, of course, but let's make up some weird theory for it, which this one actually seems kind of plausible. The idea behind this is the theory that Rockstar Games put all these Grand Theft Auto cities on islands on their own to represent Americans' close-mindedness. I don't know if you guys know, but most Grand Theft Auto games are much smarter than they really come off, and they're all really parodies and farces on American culture in different time periods. The Grand Theft Auto games really exist to examine and make fun of all different aspects of American culture. And by putting all the game worlds on lonely islands, it represents Americans' close-mindedness and America-centric thinking. Maybe Rockstar just really thinks that Americans don't care about anyone else in the outside world. Whether or not you think that's right is up to you, but I think it's a funny theory. And at number 4, we have a similar idea from one we discussed earlier, and this one is that all the Grand Theft Auto games themselves are Hollywood film. This is just a good explanation for why everything in the game is so wacky, other than the fact that it's a video game. The level of diversity and amount of exotic cars that frequently pop up makes no sense other than the fact that it's a movie set, and there's gonna be a lot of Lamborghinis so that it looks nice and flashy. The fact that you can find a grenade launcher in an alleyway or a machine gun on a rooftop makes it seem very unrealistic, and weapons are strategically placed in a place to be cinematic and fun and create chaos. If there weren't random weapons everywhere, it wouldn't be exciting. This is why it's like a movie. It's also worth noting that protagonists in Grand Theft Auto games are never normal average Joe people. They're always larger than life personalities with weird, crazy goals, and they also do a bunch of crazy things like steal helicopters, jump off of jets, drive cars off of bridges, and shoot cops. Basically, what this theory is trying to explain is that everything is exciting in the Grand Theft Auto universe at all times because it's just simply a movie. And you can tell that the developers at Rockstar Games are obsessed with movies. There's tons of references to movies in all of their games, so it is kind of fun to imagine that Grand Theft Auto itself is just a giant movie within a video game. And at number 3, since we are talking about Rockstar Games themselves, let's talk about a weird conspiracy theory that they put in the games themselves. In Grand Theft Auto 5, it really seemed like Rockstar had gotten around to reading all these crazy, ridiculous theories about all their games, so up on Mount Chiliad, they placed a giant alien carving that is intentionally super cryptic and mysterious, which ultimately doesn't really seem to mean anything. People have went crazy trying to come up with theories and make connections of what any of this means, and probably only Rockstar will know, but it really just seems to amount to fuck all nothing. And honestly, I think Rockstar's just having a laugh at us. It makes sense for a fan to come up with the biggest fan theory in a Grand Theft Auto game, it would be Rockstar themselves. And at number 2, here's one that I really like, I think is totally crazy. There's an idea out there that Rockstar Games is using players' data from Grand Theft Auto 5 to make decisions on how they're gonna create the next Grand Theft Auto. The idea behind this theory is that players get to choose 3 different characters: Franklin, Trevor, or Michael. They also play these characters in a variety of different ways. This little theory suggests that when you connect to Grand Theft Auto Online, Rockstar is taking your data from single player of how you're playing, and how you played and completed the single player, and basically how you conducted yourself. This theory suggests that now they're gonna take all this data in a server and basically come up with an ideal game for Grand Theft Auto 6. Analyzing everything from how many people you killed as Franklin, how many civilians you ran over as Michael, what choices you actually made in the main game, whether or not you finished the main game, what kind of side quests you did, everything. The idea is basically that Grand Theft Auto 5 was an experiment by Rockstar to basically craft their perfect game. That game is apparently going to be Grand Theft Auto 6 or whatever. I don't know, it's nice to really think that, but I don't think it works like that in a legal sense and in a game development sense. And at number 1, the most widely accepted and believable theory is the idea that the 3 main Grand Theft Auto 5 characters represent 3 different generations of Grand Theft Auto games. Let's break it down. First, there's Trevor. He's absolutely crazy, he's a maniac, and he represents the original top-down Grand Theft Auto 1 and Grand Theft Auto 2 games. Believe it or not, the original Grand Theft Auto games emphasized frenzies and killings more than the newer, more story-based Grand Theft Auto games. Franklin specifically represents Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, with the idea that he's a person coming from nothing who wants more and works his way up to the top. Franklin resembles a lot Claude, the main character from Grand Theft Auto 3, eventually becoming one of the top criminals of Liberty City, Tommy Vercetti from Vice City basically becoming Scarface, and CJ from San Andreas coming from the hood to basically owning the entire state. Now, Michael DeSanta from Grand Theft Auto 5 is the embodiment of the new Grand Theft Auto games, most specifically Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5. These are games focusing surprisingly on a ton of story and really emphasizing the characters' motivations, their feelings, what they're doing, and just a lot of story stuff. That is definitely Nico from Grand Theft Auto 4 and all the Grand Theft Auto 5 characters. Now, of course, this is another theory that is definitely reaching, but a lot of people have embraced it. Personally, myself, I just think that the Grand Theft Auto 5 characters all just represent different play styles of characters, but it's fun to think that their representations are even deeper than that. Guys, those are some of our favorite and craziest Grand Theft Auto fan theories. And we know there are probably a ton more out there, so we want to hear yours down in the comments. If you got any crazy, far-flung theories about any Grand Theft Auto game or the series in general, I definitely want to hear them. Maybe we'll do another one of these videos, I don't know. But if you guys did enjoy some of this crazy stuff, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. We really appreciate it. And if this is your first time here, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.